Hi y'all, I am going to do a quick video on lesson 7-3 and it is just looking at the 4 check it out problems that we're going to deal with, and this is triangle similarity using angle angle, side side side, and side angle side. So let me get my phone set up for us to get started. Alright, number 1 says, and again this is check it out 1, this is page 470. Explain why the triangles are similar and write a similar statement. Let's look at the triangles. Looking at these 2 triangles, we see that they both have right angles, but we also see that the other angles are not congruent that are given. I used the triangle sum theorem to find the missing angle in each triangle and found that these are similar triangles because they do have congruent angles. We know that B is congruent to E, we know that A is congruent to D, and that C is congruent to F. So as you'll see, I have redrawn this triangle right here, DEF, so that it easily lines up with ABC in a way that we can see all the corresponding parts in the same places. Okay, so in order to do what the question asks, which is explain why the triangles are similar and write a similarity statement, I wrote that A is congruent to D, angle A is congruent to angle D, angle B is congruent to angle E, and angle C is congruent to angle C, and I used the triangle sum theorem as my statement for that. Of course, we only need 2 angles to prove angle-angle similarity. The next thing I did is stated that triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Remember, those angles have to be listed in corresponding orders as they correspond to the angles of the first triangle. So you'll see that ABC, sorry, trying to move my phone back into place, give me just a second, corresponds to DEF. All right, let's look at number 2. Number 2, or check it out 2, on page 471, says verify that TXU is similar to, or the triangle TXU is similar to triangle VXW. Let's look at our diagram. Here's the diagram. We have triangle TXU and triangle VXW. The first thing that I notice in this diagram is that we have congruent vertical angles. The next thing I notice is that we have 2 sets of listed sides. So my assumption would be that we will use side, angle, side. But we need to see if those sides are actually proportional. The first thing we need to do, oh, I'm in a coffee shop by the way, so you'll hear people in the background. The first thing that we need to do is flip one of the triangles so that we see all the corresponding parts together. I know that UX is going to correspond to WX because those are each of the hypotenuse, and I know that this angle is going to correspond to this angle. So let's look at how I've redrawn it. I've redrawn the congruent angles in the same spots, and I've put the hypotenuse on top for each one, and then I've carefully filled in the numbers and letters to make sure that everything is in the right place. According to that, the relationship between 15 and 20 should be the same as the relationship between 12 and 16. Let's go look at it. 12 over 16 reduces to 3/4. 15 over 20 reduces to 3/4. We have our congruent angles, so we can in fact say that these triangles are similar by side, angle, side. Now remember, it's so important that we write this statement correctly. So I said triangle TXU is similar to triangle VXW. Being careful to put everything in the right order. Alright, lastly, no, I'm sorry, this is not last, this is number 3. Explain why RSV is similar, triangle RSV is similar to triangle RTU, and then find RT. So here are our 2 triangles. We did a problem similar to this in class. We have the smaller triangle, RSV, we have the larger triangle, RTU, and we are going to show why they are similar. Well, the first thing you see is that we have a set of congruent angles. So I have said angle S is congruent to angle T, and that was given. Let me move the book just a little bit to see if we can get both of those in. The next thing I realized is that angle R is reflexive. It is the the angle to the left in the smaller triangle and the angle to the left in the larger triangle. So I said angle R is congruent to angle R because it is reflexive. Sorry again about the background noise, guys. All right, now we need to set up our ratios because our job is to solve for RT, which we're going to call X. You can see that I've already solved it for 15, but for the moment, just think of it as X. So you can see that 8 and 12 are corresponding sides in these two triangles. So let's say 8 over 12, and you can see that right there, should have the same relationship as the smaller side, or the side of the smaller triangle to the side of the larger triangle, which is 10 to X. So we said 8 over 12 is equal to 10 over X. The next thing we need to do is solve by cross multiplying. 8x equals 120, x equals 15, and 15 is the length of RT. All right, let's look at the last one. Remember, we are skipping example 4, so if you haven't already crossed through that in your book, you can do that now. And let's look at, oh, sorry, I moved my book too much. Let's look at Check It Out 5, and I'm gonna have to remove the phone again. Check It Out 5. Check It Out 5 is referring back to example 5 that you can look at in your book, having to do with the gable and the roof on a house. This is using the same gable with the same letters in the same spots, but with different numbers, and wanting us to solve for the missing link. So, check it out number 5. You can look at the diagram that I drew according to what they said. They said AB is 4x. You can see that I have labeled AB off to the side as 4x. And they said AC is 5x, which you'll see at the bottom. And BF is 4 at the top left of the small triangle. And they want us to find FG, which is right across here. So you can see that I've already solved it, but I'm gonna erase it so that we don't see it for the moment while we try to work through the problem, so that we don't forget what our unknown is. All right, so the ratio of these similar triangles, the small one on top to the large one, should be proportional. So we should be able to say the relationship between 4 and 4x, or 4 over 4x, is the same as whatever FG is over 5x. So 4 is to 4x in the same way that FG is to 5x. Let's look at that in writing. 4 over 4x equals FG over 5x. Now FG is just one variable. I'm just putting it there so I don't forget what I'm solving, but it could have just been F, or it could have been length, or whatever I wanted, but I named it FG. So when we cross multiply, we are going to have 20x equals FG, cross multiplying here, times 4x. FG times 4x. Now remember, what we're solving for is FG, so we want to get it alone, meaning that we need to divide both sides of the problem by 4x. That's going to leave us with FG on the right, and 20x divided by 4x is 5. So the length of FG, as I write it back in here, as you will see, is 5. Okay, that's it. That's all the Check It Out problems that you will need for your homework. Oh, one last thing I wanted to run through with you. Right below that on page 473 is the properties of similarity, which are like our properties of congruence that we used. So let's run through these. The reflexive property of similarity, as we used in class over and over today, says that triangle ABC is similar to triangle ABC. It's saying that something is itself, or something is similar to itself. The way that we've used it is in problems like this, saying that angle B is reflexively congruent to angle B, to itself, because it's the top angle of the little triangle and the top angle of the big triangle. So we have our reflexive property, and then we have our symmetric property. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. No, if they are similar, then DEF is similar to ABC. So all they did was reverse that and show symmetry between them. If triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, then triangle DEF is similar to triangle ABC. All right, and lastly, the transitive property. If triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF, and then triangle DEF is similar to triangle XYZ, then the original one is similar to the last one. triangle ABC is similar to XYZ. As you'll see, triangle ABC is similar to XYZ. All right, so look over those, and I hope your homework goes well.